Bill Farrar, attorney for the Mendoza family. For background purposes, Frank is one of 3 brothers that operates 3 businesses in the community for more than 20 years. The one we're talking about tonight is the Mercato on Salem Street, next to Volva's, in the corner of Fritz. If you have seen it, the upstairs has been renovated. They've actually had the store there for nearly 20 years. The mother, Monica, the name originates, started the store as a grocery, gourmet shop, Italian foods, etc. Some years ago before that. They operate the Monica's Trattoria, which is there across the street on Fritz, and they operate Monica's Vinoteca on Richard Street. They have been a major part of the community, as most people are aware. The entire family lives here. In the neighborhood, we have, which we will take back from you, we have 388 letters, mostly from neighbors, supporting the Mendozas and their work at their locations, including this. So why are we here? When they renovated the Mercato, they added an element to it that's a little bit different than it was before. We've always made pizza, but in this instance now, you can order a pizza. Try to explain to you the intricacy of the zoning law that gets us here. Meaning that if you went around the Pazziali, you can get a slice of pizza in a bakery, and it's not considered to be a takeout because it's not made to your order. You go in and ask them for a slice, they lift it off the tray, and they hand it to you, which is what Monica's did in the past at me. Some pizza were here, but it wasn't made to order. The city's position with that is, and some of this may be familiar to you when I was here not too long ago, about the juicery that's going into the exercise center that's going to be the old gas station at the very end of Hanover Street. Why do I raise it? The fact that it's called takeout, and the fact that, as Victor would say, takeout is a definition that falls into the restaurant category of the zoning code. It doesn't make it a restaurant. It simply means that it has a primary use. The exercise center has a primary use as an exercise center, but because they will make juice to your order, if you go in and you ask for kale, whatever else, juice, they will make it to order. Because of that, the city requested that they apply for a takeout use as part of their fitness center. Same here. We are still a grocery store. We're not changing it from being a grocery store. It stays exactly the way it looks. The difference is that if you want to order your pizza with peppers and onions on it, you can order your pizza with peppers and onions made to order, requiring us to have takeout use zoning. Takeout use zoning at that location is called a conditional use. It's not a forbidden use which requires a variance, but a conditional use because Salem Street is a neighborhood business service area. The expectation is that you have businesses on the ground level, and this type of a use in that area is conditional. Is it appropriate for this storefront? Is it appropriate in the area? Does it cause any concern or harm to the local community? Needless to say, we don't think it does. You will hear some comment about the side street being a private way. Private ways are not private property. People may like to think of that. The actual legal term is private way with public access, meaning any member of the public can walk on a private way. You cannot block it, gate it, hinder vehicle or pedestrians for movement on a private way. What private way means is that the city has taken it upon themselves to what they call discontinued use as a public way, meaning they are not required to put lighting, they're not required to plow, they're not required to pave. So it limits what they're required to do with private ways, but it doesn't prohibit public access. So that phraseology is a little misleading. It's not like having your front lawn as your private property. Private ways are not the equivalent. So we're here asking you to support what the city has asked us to do for zoning purposes is to add takeout use to the grocery store. We will tell you if you've seen the store, and I think many of you probably have, what you see is what it will be. It's not changing. It simply allows us to make those pizzas to order, or make something to order. If you went by, technically, you're probably all going to say, well, lots of stores don't have takeout, which is true, but technically, if you walk into a store and ask them to make you a sandwich to order, it violates the same provision that we're here for. Meaning, if you go to a grocery store in the neighborhood and you say, make me a prosciutto and mozzarella sandwich, technically they're not supposed to, because they may be listed as a grocery store, a bakery, or some other use, and it'll take you 10 seconds to think of them. But anything made to order requires this. If you don't have it, then the city can do. They have requested of us is to apply for the zoning change. So I know that sounds a little twisted, but it's sort of an intricacy of the zoning. Like,
so what I'd like to do first is I'd like questions, first from abutters and then from others, and then comments from folks. Sir.
I'm one of the owners of One House Place, and we find that your business is not appropriate at that location. We think that you should sell your pizza from your storefront that are on 7th Street. That's the commercial street, the area where you are putting the new pizza is really more of a residential area, and we don't support having that kind of business at that location. Many of our tenants in the building have complained that people, stay after they buy the pizza, they sit on the steps, they create noise, stay open very late. And we don't understand why you need to open a new entrance into the basement when you have two different entrances on 7th. So that's one point. The second point is that we are disappointed that you opened the store without the licenses and the permits. That should have not happened. We feel like the big sign is inappropriate for the residential area, so we are definitely in opposition.
okay. Would you like to answer?
Please.
The sign is pertinent. The sign, some people, including myself, would say, not only is it appropriate, it's kind of a neat sign for that location. That entry door on Noyes Place is probably, don't hold me, 15, no more than 20 feet away from the entry door on Salem Street. So it's not like, if you went in or exited from Salem Street, it would be much different than entering or exiting from the Noyes Street door. What it does for us is, it's simply in a very small store, if you've been in there, because there's lots of items to sell. Makes it easier to handle with people who may not want to shop in the grocery part of the store, just getting pizza from downstairs. Now, we're not aware of people sitting on your steps, etc. If you brought it to our attention, whether it's by signage or otherwise, the Mendozas keep that street as clean as anybody. They not only clean the first part of the street in front of your building, because their door is in front of your building, directly across. We don't see you people cleaning that. We clean further down the street than all the people is, and they'll show you. They have people out there every single day. So if people are sitting on your stoop, you should ask them where they're coming from. And again, it's not something that we've had an issue with in the past. We've sold sandwiches in that store for 20 years. And that's not been an issue.
But your business is illegal, though. It's open without license.
No, it's not illegal, as we're saying to you. Once again, as we've been asked and agreed to apply for takeout. If I sold them that pizza from down there, just putting it out, if you go further down the street to, what was the place? Ernesto's. Ernesto's makes all of his pizzas in advance. You go in, you say, let me have a slice of salami, let me have a slice of pepperoni. Technically, I could do that every day of the week. But if you call and you say, cook it for me to order, that's why I need the takeout. So people can buy pizza from us, 365 days out of the year, as long as we didn't make it to your offer. So that's the only variance is that we're, simply asking to legalize the fact that we can cook it to someone's request.
Any other abutter questions? Okay. Okay, questions from non-abutters, please.
Why did you get this permit before you built this?
Well, to be totally honest with you, they weren't aware that they should have gotten this permit.
Well, they were a lawyer.
They do have a lawyer. I have to be the guy.
Yeah, well, aren't you aware that you should get these things before you build
Well,
it and invest the money and?
I would like to
We've seen this many times come here. Somebody will build something and then come for a permit and it's all done.
Well,
You should have come here before.
You've been at nearly all the meetings that I come to.
Well,
So you've been here.
those are great people and we love them, but why don't they come here before this is all done as a fait accompli, as they say?
I don't know if it's complete because you were at the meeting when we came to you for this renovation and expansion. So it's not like we hid the fact that we were doing the store open. What I'm saying to you is, post doing that, the way it operates was an issue that our friends, some of our friends on Joyce Place, talked to the city. The city said, we're in that gray area where if they're making it to water, okay, they should get a takeout. It wasn't hiding the fact, okay? We're not doing anything that we weren't doing for the last 20 years. It's just that it's being done in a little different way. It is, again, you probably have ordered a sandwich to water at a place in the North End that doesn't have this. So my point to that is, since we are caught in this dilemma, we have to now respond to it. We can respond to it by not making your pizza to order and say, you can pick up a pepperoni that's city, but we don't want to do that. We want to make it to order as our customers requested.
I have a question. When you came to the meeting before I wasn't there, did you state that there would be a different entrance to this takeout area that's being built? Because I think that's the big
I can't
issue
say.
here.
I can't say. I mean, we gave you plans, but I can't say we specifically said there was an entrance on one side or the other. I don't remember this.
Because I could see like a restaurant on Hanover Street, trying to get an expansion and the neighbors voting for it, and then suddenly they put their entrance on Salem Street, and it's a whole different thing. You have people on Salem Street that are being affected that wouldn't have been affected if they kept the entrance on Hanover Street.
You are familiar with the location.
No, I am, but I'm just
You
giving
know
you.
how close the doors are.
Well, there's different noise levels when you're in an alleyway than when you're on an open street.
But once again,
I do know where.
You do how.
I do know
you do
where, and I
how
love
close
the-
the door
I love
is
the place,
from
but I
the
do
front entrance to the
understand
side entrance.
That noise carries much differently in an alleyway.
We
So
respect that.
that
I
is
don't
my
have to
question.
agree with it. I don't, in this instance, I don't agree. I think it's so close to the front entrance that it's inconsequential whether I go in or out the front door or the side.
David.
Dave Kubiak, Cleveland Place. My recollection is that when the business came before the community and received support for the expansion and renovation of the store, which I think is a wonderful store, there was no mention of pizza and there was no mention of a separate entrance to a pizza parlor. My question, though, is the zoning. I'm confused about the zoning because you describe it as just allowing takeout in a grocery, and yet the agenda says small takeout restaurant. Will the zoning decision, if the conditional use is granted, does the use officially become a restaurant?
No more than the exercise center becomes a restaurant. You've been at those hearings as well. We have people that are next door who ask the very same question that we get tonight. It doesn't create a restaurant. It allows the use within another use. So fitness center with the use to allow you to make juice for people to take out. Grocery store, you can name other grocery stores. There are some actually in the neighborhood that have takeout allowance, the same way.
Mercato del Mare, by the way. When you were talking, I thought of Mercato del Mare. When they started doing sushi, they had to get a similar, I believe it's a similar conditional use.
I did that.
And I assume that that Mercato del Mare is not officially a restaurant. So that may apply in this case too. But when I saw it on the agenda, I was
No, They had
confused.
the same choice. The reason is that the section of the zoning code, as Victor raised, I think at the juice location, comes under the definitions listed on the restaurant, types of restaurant, but it's not applied as a restaurant. Meaning, the women that operate the fish store, we're told, look, if you have a guy come in and simply make the sushi in the morning or whatever, and leave it there in boxes the way you pick it up and Stop and Shop or someplace else that sells it, that's allowed in the retail store. The rule of thumb they have is called sale by the piece or the pound. So if I buy a packaged item in a grocery store, they don't require them to have takeout. Health code, licenses, and things of that sort, yes, but not takeout. So if I go into the fish market, and this is why they did it, and say, I want 3 salmon rolls, 2 such and such, etc. If he makes it to order, they need to take out, and that's why they have to take it. It's the same application.
And I think this will have to be the last question. And Tom, if you could, and I should have reminded everyone, please announce your name and your address.
Tom Schiavone from Snow Hill Street. Because we are a residents association, can you tell us whether the officers or the principals, how many meetings, what efforts were made to communicate with the abutters, even if there were differences of opinion, and the tenor and the nature of the interaction?
There'll be 2 additional, as is required now for most hearing situations. We have this meeting this evening. I've spoken to several of the residents who have called me on Noise Place, including one who I think has made more of the calls than anyone else to the city. We will meet with the abutters on the 20th, either on location or if we get a cold night, because Nicole will have to find a place for that meeting. Monday night we will meet with the middle council.
Well, my only concern is if there isn't an abutters meeting yet, how do we really know what all the concerns are of the abutters?
Oh.
Nobody showed up.
But that was
So we had a meeting, when your brother, the residents came out, had an impromptu meeting
Oh,
when the first call.
I don't know if you might say a little about
We
that.
had a impromptu, well, we got a call about the pizza with questions. And so I set up a meeting with George and another resident and 2 other residents who aren't here tonight came. So we did have one meeting a few months back too. They asked for a meeting.
In that meeting, we were in complete opposition. It was not in case.
Well, I'm going to try to move us along. It looks like most of the questions have been asked. I don't see anyone clamoring.
Hearing date.
Well,
No, that's, we have verbally,
There's a few other questions too.
well, but we have a schedule, so I'm going to allow 2 more questions. Victor just got one of them, hearing date. And we're going to have one more after that.
Victor, I believe the hearing date that we discussed, I think it's 10, but I have not received it in writing. So we're working on the assumption.
Please, yes.
Mary Ann D'Amato, 13 Noise Place. Living with the boys, as I fondly call them, has been a treat. They take care of their property and they're very good to their customers and to their neighbors. As far as that door on Noise Place, I have no problem with it. What I have a problem with is people coming down Noise Place, sitting down and eating. But it's not necessarily from Monica's. It could be Bova's. It could be Dino's. It could be anybody on that corner. I'm all in favor of what they want to do.
Thank you. So we're going to be using the blue ballots for this, our vote of the evening. It's self-explanatory, but if you are against the conditional use takeout, you circle oppose. If you think, yeah, let's not be against it, you circle support.
Thank you.
This was one of the closer votes we've had, but it is 16 support and 15 oppose. So 16 support, 15 oppose, so we will be in the support column.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.